Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day. Today, you see the title. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll probably be doing quite a few videos from this book that I'm reading, Bird Watching, about the great Larry Bird. And reading through it, to me, is giving you some insight on lots of different things to think about. So I'm going to read you an excerpt, and then we're going to talk about how it relates to the title of this video. So I think this is coming from Pat Riley, if I'm not mistaken. Says, when Larry Bird played for the Celtics and I coached the Lakers, we were involved in knockdown, drag-out battles for the ultimate prize, the championship. People talked about the level of dislike or even hatred among our two teams, but it was more about a fierce attachment to the same goal. I can still remember every play of that great Lakers-Celtics rivalry. I have never forgotten how Larry Bird affected the outcome. When you are striving for the same kind of greatness, you develop a lifelong respect for your adversaries, even though you rarely articulate it. I have always admired the level to which Larry Bird would go to fulfill his commitment to winning the game and his teammates. His commitment was sacred, and he made sure yours was too. If you wanted to play for rings, both teammate and opponent had to surpass his commitment. All right, so reading this passage here, what I find, one of the things that stood out to me is he says, when you are striving for the same kind of greatness, you develop a lifelong respect for your adversaries. And this made me think about, I believe when you truly have a passion for something, when you truly love what you do, then you can't help but respect others who have that same kind of passion, who have that same kind of commitment to what it is you do. And in that, I think it makes you incapable of not giving another person credit when you recognize that in them. For example, when Michael Jordan dropped 63 on the Celtics and Bird said, Michael Jordan was God in shorts, basically. To me, that was because Bird was such a fierce competitor himself. He could not deny that fierceness in another player. He had to give that credit. Another thing I compare it to is Michael Jordan and Kobe. Now, even though Kobe never reached the level of a Michael Jordan, I think Michael Jordan had a great respect for how Kobe played the game, and he recognized that same fierceness in competition, that same passion for the game. And so, I think ultimately that's what allowed Kobe and Mike to develop that friendship, that big brother, little brother type relationship is to make it simple, real recognizes real. So like Pat Riley said, I think when you are competing against people who have that same mindset as you do, you can't help but have certain respect for your adversaries, even though they are your adversaries. Like, you can't help but respect the way they go about playing the game. Now, let's talk about Isiah Thomas and how he fits into this. Isiah Thomas arguably is a very underrated player. I mean, if you go back and look at the tapes, there is no question that Isiah Thomas could play. And again, despite whatever rivalry the Bulls and Pistons had, that Jordan and Isiah had, Despite however Jordan feels about Isiah, he still has him as the second greatest point guard next to Magic Johnson. And again, this is kind of what I'm talking about, is when, to me, when you are very passionate about what you do, something in you has to give credit to people who you feel play as passionately as you do. And definitely Isiah Thomas played passionately. But here we go. Here's the thing. I would say for a lot of people, Isiah Thomas doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I would say a lot of people don't give Isiah Thomas the credit that he deserves. I would say a lot of people don't view the Pistons as great as the Pistons, I don't even necessarily want to say should be viewed, because I feel like the Pistons earned how people view them. And this is the thing. Because of how the Pistons played, there will always be a stain on their legacy. Because they were known for playing a dirty style of basketball, there will always be a stain on their legacy. And again, we talk about the dream team thing with Isiah Thomas getting left off, and yeah, Jordan probably was the biggest factor, but there were plenty of players on that team who did not care for Isiah to be on that team. Why is that? Because Isiah Thomas, I believe, is not respected in the same way because of how the Pistons played. There's no escaping that. There's no escaping accountability for how you chose to get your wins. You can beg the public and you can be like Isiah and come out here and try to pretend like, oh, we were no rougher than anybody else and blah, blah. I don't understand why we're getting all this why we're getting all this hate and criticism. The Pistons didn't play that rough. We didn't do anything that anybody else didn't do. It's like, come on, man. You would be more respected if you just admitted it. However, that's not the case, and I believe that's why Isiah Thomas doesn't get the respect that he thinks he deserves. That's probably the better way to put it, because I believe the Isiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons get the respect that they earn. And they earn those championships in a way that a lot of people and players do not agree with. A lot of people and players think that was cheating the game in a sense, by playing so rough. And this is how we tie this in to LeBron James and Isiah Thomas having something in common. Again, you fanboys, I know you want to dream and hope in your heart of hearts that LeBron James's legacy is going to hold up when he retires. But I'm here to tell you it's not. Because what I can tell you as someone who's lived through it is back when the Detroit Pistons were champions, they were celebrated. Again, I was a Detroit Piston fan. They were celebrated. But as time goes on and people take a look back, in perspective of what you did and how you did it. This is important. We talk about this a lot on this channel. How you did it. For you younger kids who watch my channel, how you did it is important. And for you fanboys, I know you're not going to understand it, even though I've said it a million times. How you do it is important. So as time goes on and people look back at how the Detroit Pistons accomplished what they accomplished. I mean, that were obviously during that time, a lot of players had problems with how the Pistons were playing. It wasn't just Michael Jordan fanboys, because you guys love to bring that up too. There were a lot of players in the league who had a problem with how Detroit played. But yeah, so as time goes on, people looking back start to say, well, hey, wait a minute, that Isiah Thomas, he was great. And, the Detroit had some legendary players on that team. However, the way they won those championships is questionable. And again, that's what we're talking about. It's like you got to decide for yourself that if you want to win by any means necessary, meaning ways that could come back and haunt you, you have to be willing to take accountability for that. You can't try to pretend like it's everybody else's fault. And this is what's going to happen to LeBron James. You know, all this flopping, creating super teams. You know, when LeBron retires and people start looking back on his career and other great players are coming after him, and people are still having these discussions, because these discussions are going to go on until the end of time, because that is the nature of sports. And people are still having these discussions. People are going to look back and start comparing and saying, well, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, LeBron did this and that, and he has all these pointless longevity stats and whatnot. But look at how he did it compared to other greats. Look at how he did it. Look at this flopping stuff. Look at him, the fact that he got to choose his own destiny, so to speak, and go to all these different teams, yet still somehow we keep talking about LeBron James never had a Hall of Fame coach. Whose fault is that? Here, fanboys, let me tell you something. Next time you think to yourself, LeBron James has never had a Hall of Fame coach, replace it with this instead. LeBron James has never turned a coach into a Hall of Famer. That's the reality. LeBron James has never turned a coach into a Hall of Famer. When you go back and look and say LeBron James hadn't had great teammates, which is a lie, because again, LeBron James has chosen his teammates. You cannot diminish D Wade and Bosh and Kyrie and Kevin Love and AD and all these players. But if you want to talk about, you know, some of the early Cleveland years, you know, and talk about, oh, LeBron James never had great teammates, what you need to replace it with is LeBron James never turned teammates into great players. That's the reality. Because the common denominator is LeBron in all of this. And you mean to tell me in all these years of playing, somehow this guy is just that unlucky, huh? And so, yeah, LeBron James and Isiah Thomas, they will share a similar fate. They will share a similar fate in terms of, you know, they will continue to believe that they should get more credit than what they earn in the eye of the public. You know, though these 4 championships that you fanboys love to type in my comments, again, when LeBron retires, people are going to start, you know, looking back and saying, well, hey, LeBron had this, LeBron had that. LeBron got to choose his own teammates. You know, LeBron had actually wound up having more help than any other superstar. And he's going to fall down the ranks. He's going to not be respected the way you guys think he should and the way he thinks he should. I mean, it's already happening now. That's why he's begging us for respect. It's the same with Isiah Thomas. They are very much in the same boat. And so, again, you know, we're going to wrap this video up here. I mean, like I said, you know, the more I get through this book, I'll be doing more videos about, you know, some of these things that just trigger thoughts about the game of basketball. But yeah, LeBron and Isiah Thomas are very much linked, and I think how they will be viewed once they retire. Well, how Isiah Thomas is now viewed. Again, you know, Isiah Thomas is a better point guard than I think a lot of people give him credit for, but that's because of how the Detroit Pistons won. You can't erase that negative stain associated with the Pistons. Just like you're not going to be erase the negative stains associated with LeBron James when it's all said and done. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree that LeBron James, and I've said this before, that LeBron James, when he retires, he's going to suffer a similar fate, if not a worse fate than Isiah Thomas, in terms of not being respected because he didn't play the game and earn the championships in the same way that most of the other superstars. You know, again, the way the Pistons played, like I said, as a Pistons fan back then, I was all about it. But as the years went by, you know, you have to admit that, hey, look, these guys weren't like for a reason. And you can't get around that. And it's going to be the same with LeBron James. As much as you fanboys want to prop him up when it's all said and done and is, you know, years after his retirement start to pass and people start to look back, they're going to say, look, this guy didn't win in the same way that the other greats won. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. All right.